My name is Jason Schmidt, and I am the owner of Grazing Plains Farm. I am a fourth or fifth generation, depending how you slice it, dairy farmer here. Fourth generation really on this farm, fifth generation in Kansas. Um, I grew up here. Many generations have grown up on this farm. After high school, I left for college and other ventures for about 10 years. So I was gone from the farm and didn't think I was going to return really, but in my other ventures, both overseas and in different parts of the United States, I got sucked into the regenerative, sustainable farming world and haven't really looked back since. And that getting pulled into that arena gave me a realization of just how much farming is in my blood and how much the land here was kind of calling me back. So my wife and I slowly started making our way back to the farm about 10 years ago. And my parents had operated this dairy for 35 years, I think. And we kind of worked out a 5-year transition for me to take over the family dairy farm. They had made a living with both crops and a small 40 to 50 cow dairy. And we decided that Dad would take his crops into retirement and I would take over the dairy farm. So I'm now in my 5th year of full farm ownership. And a lot of the dreams I had come back with of making the farm a more grass-based, sustainable, whatever that means, regenerative farm. I wasn't sure, kind of got lost in the weeds as I was taking over the dairy. My parents farmed conventional, and I was trying to figure out what the farm would look like, even though when I came back I wanted 100% direct market, seasonal, grass-based, organic dairy. But as now I'm in my 5th year of full farm ownership, I'm kind of pulling some of those utopian dreams of what I wanted the farm to look like when I first came back. I'm kind of coming back around now. So a year and a half, 2 years ago, we started an on-farm creamery making artisanal cheeses, and I'm increasingly going towards grazing genetics and incorporating grazing into the dairy cows, and really enjoying it. It's a lot of work. I still milk about 60 to 70 cows, but really curious where the future holds as I kind of look towards the future of getting out of commodity milk and getting into more 100% direct marketed value-added products. There really isn't much of a future for the small dairy farm anymore. In this county alone, in Harvey County where I live, there used to be, in my parents' day and age, there used to be I don't know, 40 or 50 dairies. My grandparents' days were closer to 100, and now there's 2 of us left. It's just been dairying in general is pretty relentless, and the economics have just been so up and down over the past decades, and now in the past decade especially, it's been pretty rough. We've gone close to 5 years of just really bad prices. Which was one of the impetus for me to really get serious about finding a economically sustainable future for the dairy if I was going to stay with dairy farming. So that's why we started the on-farm creamery and are kind of looking towards that future. So one of the assets that was here on the farm when I came back was my parents built a really good milk barn in 1970, late 1970s, and it's showing its age in ways, but we realized that we could make use of the good structure, and we divided a room in half and made a small creamery and added this little addition as our farm store. It's all a work in progress. We just got moved onto the farm in March with the licensed creamery, and that was right as coronavirus was hitting. So we haven't done a whole lot to promote on-farm retail sales, but we are up and running here, mostly just word of mouth. So we can do a little walkthrough of the building. I'm going to put a mask on. So in our farm store, we have a very small glass-fronted refrigerator where customers can come buy cheeses, and we have about half a dozen different cheeses currently for sale or that we're making. One of the cheeses that it's kind of the cheese that we're most proud of. Miriam, my cheesemaker, my filmmaker's spouse, found a recipe for Tilsit cheese. It's a German cheese, and it goes back to Miriam and my Mennonite ancestors, who probably developed this cheese in what was then East Prussia, what is now the Poland area. And so Tilsit is a washed rind cheese that we're pretty proud of. I think we're maybe one of the only cheesemakers in the U.S. that makes Tilsit. And then other cheeses we have are a cow's milk feta that's quite popular, fromage blanc, which is a spreadable cheese, fresh cheddar cheese curds, which are quite popular, and we've started making blocks of aged cheddar, along with a number of other cheeses that we're experimenting with and always developing. So it's been fun to get into the artisanal world of cheese making. So this is our very small creamery. It's functional for what we do right now. We have a little 30-gallon pasteurizer that also doubles as our cheese vat. So right now we're just making 30-gallon or about 30-pound batches of cheese 2 to 3 times a week. And it's I'm someone that's a bit risk averse, so I've started on a very small shoestring budget, but already knowing that bigger investments will be needed pretty soon as we outgrow this first iteration. So as we walk through the milk barn, the next room we come to is our tank room. This is where our milk from the cows goes directly from the cows into the tank. And the rules are that we have a room between the creamery and the cows. So this is what we call the tank room. And then this is where the cows are milked. We milk them twice a day. And as you see, I predominantly have Jersey cows. I like Jersey cows because they give high components, lots of protein and butterfat to make high quality, good yielding cheese out of. And I like the Jerseys as well because they do really well in grazing systems, whereas U.S. Holstein genetics are more bred for confinement situations. So, as my farm name implies, grazing is really my passion, and grazing comes back down to what's growing on top of this soil and what's growing below the soil, and thinking about the incredible resource that is our soil, and that I am. One thing that drove me back to the farm is ecological awareness, and knowing that the times we live in call for a radical change to the way we all live and the way we all eat and how our food is produced. And the soil can be a tremendous sink for storing carbon and pulling carbon out of the atmosphere. And so my goal is to always protect the soil. I've done away with tillage on this farm, and my goal is to plant as many perennials, meaning grasses and legumes that come back every year and do not have to be reseeded. So my goal is to plant as many perennials in as diverse mixes as possible, trying to replicate the tall grass prairies that my ancestors tore up 130, 40 years ago. So this is a kind of a tough time of year to really see what I'm trying to do, because the cool seasons in early August haven't quite started growing, and the warm seasons are basically done growing. I actually, beginning of August most years, I mow off all the pastures, hoping to let the cool season start growing. So here we got mixes of clovers and grasses. If you ignore the foxtail, this mix is supposed to be brome and orchard grass and white clover, and if you look around, there's other grasses. For grazing dairies, we need really highly nutritious grasses and legumes. So I could talk for hours about grazing and forages. That's what I actually got my master's degree in, is in grazing research. But thinking about the times we live in and the ecological tipping point that we are in as humanity and on our globe, of really needing to hunker down and think how we are going to start living give ourselves, our kids, our grandkids a more sustainable future, and solve the issues of climate change and reduce our carbon emissions into the atmosphere, is one of the driving forces that has me here on the farm. And engaging with the community and thinking about all levels. I can do my own little thing here, but if I stop here, what good is that going to do? Really, we need all levels of government and all governments around the world really taking this seriously, and getting back for the U.S. to get back into the Paris Climate Accord is top priority for me, and I will only vote for politicians who are willing to do that and take climate change seriously. So that's a great passion for me, and a passion that drives me both in educating my community. I love to have college classes, and hopefully at some point we'll start doing more school-age kid tours where we can talk about the importance of environmental stewardship and knowing how our food production has a direct impact on the environment, and how we can start thinking about more sustainable ways of eating and producing our food. So my passion is both here on the ground and also educating my community and thinking about the political changes that I want to see on a country and a national and global basis. So it's been an honor to share a little bit of my story and my farm. This is Jersey Girl, by the way. She's one of my good old pets. Yeah, it'll be fun to see where the future takes my farm, and for all of us who want to intentionally stay small, but all of us farmers who want to stay small, but want to figure out how to stay relevant as a small farmer. For me, I'm hoping that value-added dairy products will be my ticket. But yeah, I encourage you, if you ever have a chance, to go try to find some of our cheeses. You can. We're slowly getting out of just very local area. We're getting into more Wichita markets and Newton markets. I've also teamed up with a local ice cream producer, Kendra Berkey with Salted Creamery. We started during the COVID crisis, doing home deliveries of both ice cream and cheeses. You can check out our online store at dairydispatch.com. Also, if you want to follow my farm, I'm quite active on Instagram at Grazing Plains Farm, and also on Facebook. You can find my farm Facebook page, Grazing Plains Farm LLC, and see probably way too many pictures of cows and cheese. But I have a good time doing that. And also thinking about organizations that I really like supporting. I'm on the board of the Kansas Farmers Union, which is a group that does a great job lobbying for the kind of farming and food systems that I think we need to be moving towards, and the Kansas Rural Center, great organizations. And yeah, I just encourage everyone to support their local economies, support their local farmers, be civically involved, and vote in November. Thank you.